All right. Good evening, peoples. This is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation back at you for the exciting Pulte analysis after the close. This is the one that really counts the most. Um, we didn't do well. That's not fair. We did move pretty well. I mean, pretty muted move. But, again, a 70 percenter in terms of Pulte to Palantir. So what happened? Uh, Palantir closed at 129.52. Now remember, we had 126s that started in the money on calls that were sold. So I prefer to go to 126. So we got a little bump. Um, and we went to 71.90 on Pulte, which was 1.08. That's generally what happens. Every once in a while, we'll beat them, but for the most part, we'll do close unless there's a big upside move. You just can't keep up with that. You're better off in the underlying. All right. So they closed out a whole bunch of stuff. I have it all down here. This is all 516. All right, that goes to 515. So the net is we made some money. Not a lot, 1,562,000 right here. So that's 30 cents because we're still at 5 million shares. I mean, you look at some of these other funds and they're huge, right? So Pulte's getting more popular, no question about it. When you're the largest payment. Now, their price is also up there, right? We're in the $70 price range. This launched at 50. So compared to a Misty that started in the 20s and what's Misty 23, 24, 25, I didn't look, but when it makes a $2 payment, that's nice. So on Pulte, we need to make a $7 payment. Well, I'm going to save that for tomorrow, but I can say to you, I think we will set. How about this? Safe to say, so you tune in tomorrow to my estimates, but I'll get there in a minute. So, what happened on share count? Up 125. For the most part, you're going to see people buying this. Now, there's some caution. I got some of my loyal and most regular subscribers saying, hey, Bruce, I'm even turning off my what's the automatic drip. They're turning off their drip because they think it's getting too high. I don't recommend that because, you know, as I say to you, and I've been saying for over a year, I think Pulte is the best software company out there, bar none. People are talking hyperscaler, they're talking NVIDIA, but when it gets to their software and platform as a service, there's nobody out there like Palantir. Yeah, I know the PE sky high. Guys, when you got it, right? That's like saying the hottest star in the world, be it some, soccer player, NFL player, singer, when they're hot, they're hot. And, you can't reel that in. You can't always put known metrics on that. I listen to Daniel Ives. I listen to Kathy Wood. I listen to smart people that say Palantir is in a unique class. I mean, Kathy Wood, not to say that she's going to be correct, she said she wouldn't be surprised to see Palantir $500 this year. I would be, but I wouldn't surprised, and I'm going to get into a chart toward the end, guys, to see it at $350. But a lot of that says, what's the market going to do? Are we going to break out with all these new trade deals and all this instead of just getting near the high and going down in the C wave? Maybe that gets put off. Maybe we get a correction because the multiples are too high on the Mag 7 and the index, but maybe that's 6 months out and we melt up before we have a mini crash you know. There's a guy that I follow for a long time has been saying that for 3 years. He hasn't been correct yet. Well, we are melting up, but he said 3 years ago that we're going to melt up and crash within the next 6 to 9 months, and we didn't. So we did have what's known as a crash after the high in February. But we're coming right back up, getting close to that. So either we turn down or we don't. Now, there's two things going on in the marketplace. I'm reading that because of all this Middle East trade, that we're going to just blow up on Monday morning. So I need to start looking for the futures before long. They're not there yet indicating. And there's somebody else saying that our credit rating, Moody's, whoever does the credit ratings, I forget which one of the big credit rating companies downgraded us. Of course, look at the debt level. It's crazy for the US. So you got two news dynamics. Which one really plays out? Do both? Do we fly up and then turn around and sell off? Or is it the other way? We initially start down and then within, that whole first half an hour of trading is what they call retail. Don't take anything into consideration. Moves oftentimes reverse. I mean, I got that when I was back in the 90s. There was a guy named Waxy in New York City, Michael Parnas, and I used to be in one of his, you know, $200 a month little trading rooms. You have to remember where we were in the internet. And, 94, 96 is when the internet, you AOLers, and I never had a AOL, but that was all going on. So anyway, I hate to date myself on all that, but that's how long I've been involved seriously in the markets and trading and investing. And he used to say, the move is a Judas. It's a fake move for the 6:30 open. Depends, 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30. I was on the West Coast then, so 6:30 on the West Coast, 9:30 on the East Coast. That first half an hour till 7 a.m. is just, a fake out till it breaks out or drops. Sometimes you get a consistent move. It just powerfully opens and runs, but a lot of times you get set up. All right, guys, let me get into Pulte. So not a lot here. Share count. We did make money on getting rid of all that. We're up. I think we were 40 and now we're 44 by the slight move up. Synthetics always going to move up when the underlying moves up. The put drops and the call raises. All right. These are all the new positions. So I told you that the net was about 30 cents. So it didn't change anything massively. Now, when I showed you coin, they didn't put the insurance on. They didn't put these bought calls, right? So they lined all their sold calls up, but didn't do anything here. And yet we have an equal spread sold call and bought call contracts. So I feel better with that. That's not going to impact what they pay, although they may not calculate added values, but they mentally may change that. So here I am, people. Let's jump in this and take a look and see what we got. I've got $9.32 in the piggy bank. Okay. What are they going to pay? $1 million question, right? We're in Group B. The declaration date is next Wednesday. So what they've collected through this week generally is what they sit down and assess. They don't figure it all out till probably Monday night or Tuesday night, and then early, 2, 3 hours before the open on Wednesday the 21st is when they announce it. All right. So a little bit of data for you. I went back. What's the low and high? Remember, they've only been paying since back in November. So their very first payment was $2.29. They were just getting started. Pulte price was 57.27. I had bought some in 51 on opening trading day. And then I didn't add again until I sold out 89.90 after it ran to 95. I just put a stop order. I figured it was going to get stopped out, but I had such a massive profit. And then I put a buy order in on 70. I told you guys that. So I started accumulating at 70. It went down to 55, so I didn't pick the bottom. I thought I was picking a support that it would bounce off of and go sideways to up. Well, it went further down. And then they had one more massive sell off to 45 intraday. So I grabbed some more shares in the 50, but I bought 50% of my rebuy at 75. I didn't really think it was going to go lower. All right. So what's relevant about these? 11.9, it paid 229. It paid its highest on February. Look at the date, 227. That's when around the market peaked. And third, fourth week of February was all-time highs in the stock market indexes, right? But we were only trading at 69.56. I could have showed you the Palantir prices, but I can tell you that the Palantir price, it went to 94.95, and it's already gone back there, and we didn't go, or sorry, Palantir, I'll have to show you on the chart. Sorry, guys, it gets confusing. So I've got a Palantir chart. So when this scenario happened, okay, when is it showing here on the bottom? February, okay? So when this happened, Pulte got to 94, and then Palantir pulled back, right? Remember I was talking about them pulling back and came right back up to their high. Well, we were only $70 when they went back this time, but we got to 94 here. And a lot of that's just paying out massive distribution. And when this takes place literally in a period of 3 weeks, there's no way for us to keep up, us being the Pulte. It just cannot keep up with that, not doing spreads. It would have to just have no coverage on calls, just do a synthetic. And that's not the game they signed up because they want to pay income out. How are they going to generate income? They'd have to sell shares and it messes up the whole thing. So just understand it's not perfect, but it's good for high payments. All right. So the other thing that I see on here, and I wanted to point out to you guys, is this is definitely a cup pattern. Okay. And then what you look for in a cup pattern is sometimes a handle just meanders over here sideways. Sometimes it goes up and down and fills up and down. It goes 105, 120, 105, 120. And that becomes the handle, right? I mean, you think of it a coffee cup. You want to create something to hold on to, and there's no set time frame. 1 week, 2 weeks, a month. But generally, when you have a cup that only constitutes 2.5 months in time frame, your handle's probably only going to be a month to a month and a half at the longest. So we're going to probably break one way or the other. I have a propensity to feel that it could easily break up a lot, but that's dependent on the stock market. So I mentioned before, there's, the Moody's downgrade on US credit, and that could hit us on Monday. And then we got all this euphoria over all these billions of dollars being brought to the US for jobs. So which way does it play out? Kind of got to wait and see. Thank goodness they've got insurance on here. I'm not so sure why they didn't on coin. I really wish they would on Coney. All right, guys. So I will say this. Tune in tomorrow well, it's Sunday already over here. So tonight I'll have it out. You'll see it on your Sunday. And I will do my Group B, right, which is what Pulte's in. So all of the Group B forecast estimates, if you will. And I will say this to you right now. I am forecasting a new record high. How's that? It's above 593. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend, and don't forget to check out the estimates on your Sunday, or wherever you are in the world. I know I have followers in Australia. I have followers in a few places in Asia, but generally Australia being the large, populous, first world Western country over here. All right, guys, this is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Have a great day and rest of your weekend. Bye for now.